Make I remind you as they go. Bounce to the sound and I bounce with it. Serve yourself and the matter with it. Oh, it is.
Basically, there's been a lot of bands before Flag came to speed, right? So, there has been a pattern with all these bands which do their things. So, we try as much as possible to do things a bit out of the ordinary. Yeah, we don't want to approach the band thing like every other band does it. So we try to add a little bit of flavor to it. We play songs differently, we render them differently. The approach is basically different. So if you hear Flash Band and other bands that basically do the same thing that we do, you would notice that there is a difference to the way we approach our own music.
Girl, I just want more. Girl, I just want more. Girl, I just want to put you like ice water. Tell me you want to stay for you. Please make you my baby. After tonight, I can like to the daylight. But I'm a data. I can't speak of you. I can't fight for your life. Baby, wait till you fight for your life. All of her fight for your life. Roll with me, make a play as I like. They really road you sister. Every man wants to hold the wallet. The big what they want to collect. Don't you forget me, I be cocky, but now I get text. I don't get fraud, baby tickets.
Thank you for watching. See you soon.
I can just feel you are better. If I see you, but I can't pretend. The way your body said to the just one more rock.
Art is a way to express many things. It is also a way to deal with feelings that cannot be expressed through typical means like conversations or words. Art gives a way to express your emotion. It is the universal form where the imagination of thought interacts with the physical expression of matter. Art is the diverse range of human activities in creating artifacts expressing the author's imaginative conceptual technical skills intended to be appreciated for their beauty or emotional power.
Art on its own from the beginning has been that thing, that place there where you say you pass corrective messages to people. You understand? You put a correction to the society. They see the ills in the society and they put up some kind of corrective measures.
Yes, I love art because, like you can see today, you could see creativity, you could see the Africanism. Let me use the word Africanism. You could see the whole touch of excellence. So it's, I think Abigail has done so well.
7 days a week. You can watch ATA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile device to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
What limits you? Nothing. Who defines you? No one. Where can you go? Everywhere. With unlimited super-fast internet access, free Intel to Intel calls, and crystal clear quality conversations, you can do and be whatever you want to be.
Intel. Live more.
Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We are live in Abuja. I'm Hawa Salihu Adaman. You can follow these news broadcasts live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media handles displayed on the screen. A crucial meeting of the National Security Council is to be convened next week with a view to taking far-reaching and decisive measures against the resurgence of violent crimes in parts of the country towards achieving lasting peace, stability and public order. President Muhammadu Buhari summons the meeting following suggestions received from the Council of State, which met to discuss critical national issues.
A lot of issues has been discussed and advice profile and solution profile also. And President promised to discuss this with the service chiefs on the security on Tuesday so that adequate security arrangement will continue to flow. Vis-a-vis the advice he received today from the various governors and from members of the council, which were robust. The governor of Borno really commended the president for the good work that security agencies are doing in the northeast, especially Borno. He said he can sleep now with all eyes closed. That was what he said for at least 6 hours in the night. That has never been so.
State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the council, which also deliberated on the National Honors Award, as well as the forthcoming National Population and Housing Census, ratified the grant of presidential pardon, clemency and mercy to 159 Nigerians.
Of the Committee of Prerogative, Presidential Committee of Prerogative of Mercy was tendered, presented for the advice to be given by the Council in line with the requirement of the law. 26 of them, of the inmates, are recommended for presidential pardon. 85 of surviving ex-convicts were recommended for presidential pardon. Deceased, those that were convicted but have died, one was recommended for posthumous presidential pardon. Inmates recommended for presidential clemency, 27 were presented. Inmates recommended for reduced sentences for their terms of imprisonment, 13 were presented. Inmates recommended for reduced sentence from death row to life imprisonment, 10 were presented.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the confirmation of Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz as the substantive Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, with effect from the 4th day of April 2022. Until his confirmation, Mr. Abdulaziz was the acting Managing Director of TCN for 23 months, with responsibility for the overall supervision of transmission projects, network operations and maintenance, among others. An electronics and automation engineer from the Technical University in Sofia, Bulgaria, Mr. Abdulaziz is bringing on board his 25 years experience to impact positively in the power sector and entrench continuity in TCN. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reconstitution of the board of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria with a view to repositioning the bank as a core banking institution with core competence in mortgage finance. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President appointed Mr. Ayodeji Ariyo Belei, a chartered accountant, as chairman of the board, Haman Madu representing the managing director, chief executive officer. Other members are Umar Subeida, Chukuma Kingsley, Mustafa Lukman Olaiwola, Asien Abimbola, Ejize Sandra Nkechi, as well as 2 representatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Their appointment take effect from April 13, 2022, with the exception of the chairman, Mr. Ayodeji Ariyo Belei, whose appointment took effect from January 5th, 2022. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Christians as they celebrate Easter, the most significant event in the Christian calendar. The President, in a message, recognized the uniqueness of this year's celebration for adherents of the 2 great faiths, as the celebration comes halfway into the month of Ramadan. He adds that the message of Easter reminds us of the power of divine love, faith, and redemption. Easter, he says, evokes the resilience of the human spirit not to give up in the face of seemingly daunting challenges of life, and this period embodies us to believe that the current state of uncertainty and insecurity will soon unfold a season of triumph of good over evil, hope over despair, and light over darkness. The President urges all to increase in love for one another and show more patriotism, remembering that the spiritual emphasis of love has so much relevance for us today as a nation more than ever before, and thus that security and unity of the nation should guide actions and utterances. The President wishes all Nigerians a joyful and blessed Easter. And ahead of the next conference on climate change scheduled for Egypt, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is advocating climate justice for Africa, noting that a just transition would mean more energy and must include ending global energy poverty. At a virtual event organized by the Atlantic Council on Climate Finance, Vice President Osinbajo noted that Africa is already seeing the investment rules limits to the technology choices for African countries in ways that do not apply to wealthy nations, and submits that climate justice must include far greater support for countries with the greatest needs and who contribute the least to global emissions. Osinbajo said every nation must have enough energy to build resilient infrastructure, deliver essential public services, and provide a cooling and air conditioning to withstand a warming climate. On Nigeria, the Vice President noted that the country remains committed to the net zero emission by 2060, but would require the support and partnership of all the stakeholders. The Vice President's voice was also loud on the use of alternative technologies, stressing that every country must find its own path to a low-carbon future. The Vice President expressed optimism that Africa will get it right at COP27, noting that Egypt will be a crucial moment for African leaders to explain their common position and for Western leaders to show they are hearing and living up to their commitments and responsibilities. The Climate Finance virtual event is one of the preludes to the COP27 event scheduled to hold in Egypt later in the year to further galvanize efforts towards a just transition. And Hingino is on standby in our Lagos Network Center. It's over to you, Hingino.
Thank you, Hawa. Rather than being distracted by the activities of criminals who impersonate soldiers to defraud the civil populace, the Nigerian army says it will stay the course in the fight against insecurity while sustaining its counterforce against such impersonators through its Operation Checkmate. The General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Umar Musa, stated this while parading some suspected impersonators in Lagos. Through its stout defense of the territorial integrity of the country, regular civil-military engagement and successful foreign missions, the Nigerian army has over the years earned for itself a lot of applause and prestige. Activities of fake soldiers who dress in complete military uniform to intimidate and extort unsuspecting members of the public is, however, giving the army a bad image.
Anytime I'm going to go and collect my medicine that I used to take because of the transport, that's why I put on the uniform.
I train for some times, so they dismiss me.
Operation Checkmate, launched by 81 Division of the Nigerian Army to address the challenge, recently arrested over 12 imposters across Lagos and Ogun states.
A group of 4 were arrested.
While parading the suspects, the GOC 81 Division, Major General Umar Musa, says the army is conscious of how its relationship with members of the public enhances intelligence gathering and will therefore not relent in going after such impersonators and making them face the wrath of the law.
I want to draw your attention and to dispel the unfounded narrative that illicit acts committed by persons dressed in military uniforms are always Nigerian Army personnel.
The suspects will soon be handed over to the police for prosecution.
I'm calling on all members of the general public to continue to support the division's Operation Checkmate by providing information to the nearest Nigerian Army Formation and Unit on any observed illicit acts and crimes being perpetrated by persons in military uniform.
From last year till date, Operation Checkmate has arrested over 115 imposters across Lagos and Ogun. The Tinkan Island Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 8 containers loaded with more than 200,000 cutlasses. The machetes falsely declared as tools were seized for failing to provide end-user certificate. Michael Olale reports that the new controller at the command promised to facilitate legitimate trade and frustrate smuggling activities.
Tinkan Island and Apapa, the tale of two cities united by importers' preference as choice destination for cargoes. Behind the volume of trade facilitated here are deliberate attempts by some importers to cut corners. 8 containers of this nature will have cut the corner if not for proper profiling. Paperwork indicate that they contain tools, but cross-examination reveals more shocking facts. The custom is suspicious of the motive behind the importation, especially as the consignment lacked necessary documents.
You can imagine these machetes are on ETLS coming from Ghana. I don't know how many farms that we have that will bring in this kind of machete at this time. It's ready to use. It is not blank.
A little down the lane housing the containers are another 2 with conflicting declarations. The importer in the 4 stands described the content as cigarettes, only to backtrack and reveal that they are spare parts. From the 145 kilogram of cannabis sativa concealed in the compartment of 2 vehicles, extracted from a container, to potassium bromate, a banned substance equally brought in as spare parts. All items seized have one thing in common, which is false declaration.
There is no false declaration that is not with an intent, either to evade tax or to also evade permits for regulated items. We are here to make sure genuine imports are facilitated, while illegitimate imports are totally blocked.
Apart from raking in revenue in the region of 135 billion naira since the assumption of office by the controller in January, the command also generated more than 1 billion naira on the duty paid value of seized items. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. We shall pause here for some messages, and when we return, Abubakar in Maiduguri will give us reports from that zone.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
Like I said, I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportation, kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
All the thrills and all the action on Nigeria's biggest dance reality show. Glow Battle of the Year is on NTA every Sunday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA Television College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs: Protocol Event Management and Public Relations, date 2nd May to 13th May 2022, 2 weeks. Video Camera Maintenance, date 16th May to 27th May 2022, 2 weeks. Basic Television Production Techniques, date 16th May to 10th June 2022, 4 weeks. Photojournalism and Photography, date 6th June to 1st July 2022, 4 weeks. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills, date 4th July to 29th July 2022, 4 weeks. Sports coverage and reporting skills in the mass media. Date 4th July to 15th July 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for 2 weeks courses is 150,000 naira per participant, while the fee for 4 weeks courses is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA Television College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be. A new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively with Professor Umar Garba Dambata, Executive Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
We have unveiled the 622 as a toll-free line through which consumers can be able to lodge their complaints. And we have introduced the 112 as a national emergency number.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Thanks for staying with information right up to this moment, and this is Maiduguri Network Center. Let's move on now. The need for the establishment of a rehabilitation center for drug addicts and continued sensitization of the younger generation have been identified as one of the best avenues for addressing the growing menace of substance abuse, particularly among the youths. This formed part of the Community Accountability Forum meeting of the Peace Ambassadors Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment, where an action plan was developed to address the issue. Memuna Garba completes the story.
Drug abuse is multidimensional cross-border socio-economic concern that has continued to cause unpleasant challenges, especially in Nigeria, where insurgency affected communities with large portion of youth engaged in the practice. The Peace Ambassadors Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment, PACHE, recently designed a community-driven apparatus of engaging communities to address social issues by the communities and respective stakeholders in Borno.
So we are urging on policymakers as we approach the 2023 election to start this.
The established CAF Joint Steering Committee of MMC, JERE and MAFA, comprising religious and community leaders, as well as security service providers and NOAA, brainstormed to come up with far-reaching action plan to address the menace of drug abuse and reintegration of repentant Boko Haram through the development of policy guidelines with early warning and early response mechanisms.
The best thing is to sensitize the public first, and then secondly involve our traditional and religious leaders.
We can overcome this very big challenge.
The forum also advocated for extension of de-radicalization period for repentant terrorists, and that lawmakers and other stakeholders to come up with best avenues and frameworks of addressing issues of drugs and thuggery. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Away from that now, with the Ramadan fasting in progress, temperatures continue to rise from 40 degrees Celsius and above, especially here in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Medical experts have raised concern on the need for people to observe procedures that will keep them safe from heat wave related health challenges. Yagum Subukar has more details of the story.
The month of April is usually considered the peak of the heat season here in northeastern Nigeria, particularly Borno State, where a lot of fluid is expected to be taken constantly to hydrate the body. With the commencement of this year's Ramadan fast, during this season, where Muslim faithful abstain themselves from eating and drinking from dawn till sunset, what precautionary measures are expected to brave the weather? With me to shed more light on this is a medical expert, Dr. Mohammed Guluzi. Sir, you're welcome. Sir, what are the possible ailments associated with this weather?
Well, there are a number of elements associated with these extreme weather conditions, such as respiratory diseases, cardiovascular diseases, cerebrospinal diseases, and renal diseases. The heat wave that we are experiencing now is exposing most of the people to these diseases. There are a lot of precautionary measures the people should take. You also wear very light clothes. Take a lot of fluid to replace the one you are losing through perspiration or sweat, because you need a minimum of 2 liters to be able to expel the waste in the body to keep the kidneys healthy. You avoid doing strenuous activities or work. If you must do that in the early hours of the day. So you need to cool down the body by taking water. Now that we are fasting, you can't take water to do that. So, but you can take your bath and on regular basis. So these are some of the precautions one will have to take.
A word they say is enough for the wise. Let's endeavor to protect ourselves from the heat in order to remain healthy. Ramadan Mubarak, and it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Yagumsu. And those are the latest stories at this time from Maiduguri. Hawa in Abuja has the next set of reports for us on Nationwide. Do have a lovely holiday.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. And back here in Abuja, the Senate has approved the revised 2022 fiscal framework with an increased budget deficit of 965.42 billion to 7.35 trillion. The new fiscal framework provided for estimated crude oil price benchmark from $62 to $73 per barrel, daily crude oil production from 1.883 to 1.6 million barrels per day, an increase in the federal government independent revenue of 400 billion, additional provision of 182.4 billion to cater for the welfare of the Nigerian police force, and provision of 76.13 billion for domestic debt service.
Billion naira. What was projected or budgeted for in 2022 budget approved by this National Assembly was 442.72 billion. But the reality on ground shows that we can no longer cope, and this can no longer serve us as a nation if we must retain the subsidy regime. And it is to that effect the President is asking the Senate to increase the subsidy from that 2.72 to 3.557 trillion naira. That is totaling 4 trillion naira.
The assumption around reduction of the volume from 1.8 to 1.6 or to 80,000 barrels is a major concern. It worries me because we have also appropriated a lot of money for the security apparatus.
We should work to ensure that we produce our refined products locally, because that's one way of cutting out our expenditure on importation. I also think that diversification of our economy is key, because we depend so much on this oil and gas industry. The slightest issue that affects it internationally affects us seriously.
Still staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has passed the bill amending the 2022 Appropriations Act, approving 4 trillion work. The amendment of the 2022 Appropriations Act enables adjustments to the schedule, which previously had 442 billion naira as subsidy for petrol. The adjustment made an additional provision of 3.5 trillion naira, bringing the amount to 4 trillion naira. Away from the legislature, Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon, has assured Nigerian women that the recent Federal High Court judgment on 35% affirmative action will be given effect by the present administration to enhance more inclusiveness in governance. Kelvin Ebonwai reports.
In celebrating the recent Federal High Court judgment that affirmed
women's rights to 35% affirmative action in governance and appointments, Coalition of Civil Society Organizations on Gender urged government to give effect to the judgment, a stance the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen, supported at the press briefing, saying President Muhammadu Buhari is favorably disposed to issues of women development.
I want you to know that Mr. President is a true he for she. He is fully with us and he studied by us to ensure the implementation of this judgment.
This is the beginning of many victories for women and for our voices in shaping a Nigeria that is truly democratic.
As the 2023 general election draws near, the group says it is an opportunity to match words with action. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
And in view of the dangers it poses to the society, the Imo State government says necessary measures are being put in place to combat trafficking in persons. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Vulnerable Group Nkechinyere Ugu said this at a workshop to sensitize operators of orphanages and other stakeholders in Owerri. Faith Willow reports.
Stories of stolen children now dot the media space at regular interval. It is against this backdrop that this seminar, organized by the Imo State Ministry of Women Affairs and Vulnerable Group, is being held to chart the way forward in the fight against all forms of trafficking in persons.
Because a lot of people got into this thing like it became a business. It's not, they started as a charity organization trying to help, and now they've turned it into a making money.
The Imo State Commander, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Ernest Ubu, and other stakeholders in their lectures condemned the use of orphanage homes as baby factories.
Training is to equip participants, particularly operators of orphanage homes and social workers in Imo State, with requisite knowledge about what they need to do as operators of orphanages.
Doing our work, be law-abiding. Some participants applaud the effort of the ministry in organizing the workshop.
I'm taking home in the first place the duties of the home operators.
They have at least told us where we are going wrong.
High point was a presentation of certificates to the participants by the Women Affairs Commissioner. In Owerri, Faith Igwilo, NTA News.
And we are not done with the Southeast as Chinenye is in Enugu with more reports.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Enugu. Enugu State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Independent National Electoral Commission, Dr. Emeka Ononamadu, has found that the low turnout of eligible voters at the ongoing voter registration in the state. He was speaking at an INEC stakeholders meeting in Enugu. You carry on the report. The first quarter of the voter registration commenced in July 2021, and as the third quarter ends, the fourth quarter begins, with the Independent National Electoral Commission engaging key players on its challenges and improvements made so far.
As soon as the distribution and before the election, every person that registered with INEC must have or her permanent voters before well on time before the election.
Voters were registered at the various local government areas before now, but in this fourth quarter, the registration is ongoing at various wards, and INEC wants eligible voters to take advantage of this process.
That you have misplaced your PVC data, your data, that PVC was not correct. You have the liberty between now and the end of this quarter to approach.
The meeting also deliberated on best measures key players can adopt to ensure free, fair and credible polls. The Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has assured pensioners in the state of adequate welfare packages to improve their standard of living. He was speaking at the Southeast Zonal Conference of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners. Okechukwu Agubama report.
The governor, represented by the Enugu State Commissioner for Labor, Uche Ogbonna, assures the pensioners that adequate modalities have been put in place by the state government to ensure that welfare of pensioners is prioritized.
It is of a great honor that we choose Enugu State to have this conference this period of time.
The national president of the union, Godwin Abumisi, expressed dissatisfaction with what he described as ill treatment being meted out on pensioners by some state governors.
The pensioners of Nigeria are in a very special predicament. What they are paying is nothing to write home about. And this money, when they take, they use it in buying drugs. They use it in paying school fees. And this money is so little.
The zonal chairman Southeast, Dr. Josiah Ugochukwu, commended Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate for its prompt adjustment and regular payments of pension. Some persons in attendance, including the Enugu State Chairman of the Union, Ikechukwu Ekere, reiterated that the Constitution that provides pensions and gratuities shall never be denied.
They are being owed several months from several different states. We are begging them.
The event attracted pensioners within the Southeast Zone. In Enugu, Okechukwu Akobama, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Enugu. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, our Facebook page at NTA Network News, and our YouTube channel at NTA Live. I will take another break here. Nationwide will continue with Susan in Makurdi after this break. Do stay.
Are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria, pacifying the youths.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Do you run a breast or cervical cancer service? Are you a private or public laboratory, clinic or hospital that offer any of breast imaging, cervical cancer screening, HPV vaccination, or other breast or cervical cancer services? Is your service a primary, secondary, or tertiary center located in any part of Nigeria, no matter how remotely located it is? If yes, to any of these questions, then subscribe to the OCI Foundation at the OCI Foundation's page on www.ocifoundation.org and search for Survey Breast Application Form. Complete the form and submit. And let millions of Nigerians patronize you, all for free. Become part of the OCI Foundation's quest to tackle breast and cervical cancers in Nigeria. And join us by lifting up.
Good to know you could join us in Makudi. The Atomic Energy Commission, NAEC, has broken new ground in food and agricultural preservations with the invasion of gamma irradiation facility. In the light of this, a national advocacy and public sensitization on the utilization of gamma irradiation technology for the socio-economic development of Nigeria has been held in Makudi.
Nigeria has been grappling with challenges of food security occasioned by post-harvest losses. Experts put annual post-harvest losses in Nigeria for between 20% in grains and tubers to as much as 50% in fruits. The gamma irradiation technology innovated by the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission is one of the effective technologies introduced to drastically reduce post-harvest losses in the country.
Be happy as farmers if it is being implemented so that we benefit from it, because we are always losing our products because they perish, and some especially the perishable ones.
Speaking on behalf of the chairman, Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, Professor Yusuf Ahmed, Director, Nuclear Technology Center, Dr. Hamad Tukur Gado, says the workshop is to create awareness and inform relevant stakeholders, including the public and private sector, on the opportunities available at the gamma irradiation facility. He added that the agency will collaborate with relevant stakeholders to achieve set goals in boosting the agricultural sector.
Well, this event is specifically organized to sensitize the public on that is very important for security of food in the country.
There were goodwill messages from representatives of the Benue State University, University of Agriculture, Makudi, and others from the private sector. In Makudi, Iverin Solomon, NTA News.
The Benue State Police Command says investigation is ongoing to unravel those behind the attacks in Mbaduem and Tiotu communities of Guma and Taka local government areas, which led to the deaths of unconfirmed Hasmo.
Some parts of Benue State, including Guma local government area, have continued to witness spate of violent attacks, which has led to the destruction of lives and property. The recent attacks on Badum community in Guma and Tiotu community in Taka local government areas were said to have taken place on Monday night, which led to several killings, while many others are said to be critically injured.
They try to shoot me and they no fit, because 4 of them they carry me you. They as a contra escape for their hand. Now start to run first bullet they shoot me for here.
The number of corpses that we have so far is 11, so we're able to convey them to the hospital.
Police Public Relations Officer, Benue State Command, Sawisi Anene, who confirmed the incident, said security personnel have been deployed to the affected communities to forestall further attacks.
On the 12th of April 2022, at about 1:30 a.m., information was received that there was an attack at Tiotu. That's a settlement along Makudi Boko Road. Policemen were deployed to the area, and on reaching there, they confirmed that there was an attack. Some persons were killed. 9 persons have been confirmed dead at Tiotu and corpses deposited at Teaching Hospital morgue while investigation is ongoing.
Meanwhile, Benue State Governor Samuel Otom, who condemned the attack and joined security operatives to do more in crime prevention and protection of lives and property, just as he urged the people to cooperate with security agencies to flush out the undesirable elements in the society. In Makudi, Sandra Dorisi Akeme, NTA News.
And that does it from Makudi. It's back to Hawa in Abuja for the continuation of NTA Nationwide.
Susan, thank you. And from Makudi, we take you to Ekiti, where Nigerians have been advised to choose leaders with the fear of God at every level of governance for their good and that of generations yet unborn. Sheikh Abdul Karim Afenifere said this in a lecture delivered at the NTA Ado Ekiti 2022 Ramadan lecture. Tayo Osho. completes the report.
The Ramadan lecture with the theme 2022 Ekiti Decides, exploring the prescriptions of Allah in politics and governance, brought together Muslims and non-Muslims to examine the governance should be in accordance with the precepts of God and for the good of the society. It challenged those in leadership positions to lead with the fear of God, as they will give account on the day of reckoning. The President General, League of Imam and Alfa, Southwest, Edo and Delta States, Alhaji Jamiu Keoleri, and other speakers at the event urged political leaders to prioritize the welfare of the people while urging electorate not to be swayed by gratifications.
When they collect money from the politician, they voted for someone who is not eligible to be in that position.
We should make our plan with Almighty Allah, and we should fear Allah with what we are saying.
In the words of the General Manager of NTA Ado-Ekiti, Segun Ojelade, the Ramadan lecture is part of the station's social responsibilities at promoting religious tenets for societal development.
This is majorly our contribution to our Muslim brothers and sisters, especially at this period of Ramadan.
The consensus at the gathering is that it is the responsibility of all to make the society better by obeying the word of God. In Ado-Ekiti, Tayo Osho, NTA News.
The National Senior Citizen Center is making a strong case for older persons to be included in the primary healthcare services scheme in the country. Ruth Aguela reports that to achieve this, a workshop in partnership with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and the World Health Organization is held.
As one gets old, there are tendencies of experiencing different ailments, and care becomes mandatory. Ensuring a functional, accessible and affordable primary health care infrastructure for older persons, now a national emergency, the National Senior Citizen Center is strategizing with relevant partners on ways of realigning and strengthening institutional capacities to deliver integrated healthcare services for older persons.
Older persons are faced with a lack of access to essential services. That is why the primary health is dear to our hearts. Because when we have the primary health, promoting health, preventing, preventable things, and then pushing for care literacy to help them to know what to manage and how to manage themselves.
In a message, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, says, with the legal framework already in place, hope is alive.
I wish also to appreciate the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency for its innovativeness in reimagining primary healthcare and the agency's consideration to mainstream integrated care for older persons.
Beyond the round table, the objective is to strengthen synergies, identify social determinants for future planning, and increase awareness for support to bridge the gap in the provision of health care for older persons. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Residents of Itum, local government area of Akwa Ibom State, now have access to the world, thanks to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs establishment of an ICT center there. Evelyn Bado Ekpo reports that the center...
The newly constructed ICT center renovated primary health centers in Odioron, Okobo and Oron, health posts at the Midem Ishet, Ona local government area, and a block of 6 classroom blocks in Ikodesia village, Okuiboku, Itu local government area, are in persons of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs palliative approach under the Quick Win Intervention project. Others include the newly constructed maternity ward at Inwa Ikodeyet village, Ebuna local government area, and a health center at Mbaguyo Esedeket local government area.
Since the establishment of this school in 1971, I appreciate you for making yourself available to be used.
We know what we were passing through here, using a facility that was that dilapidated, but you came to our rescue.
Handing over the project, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, represented by the State Coordinator, Ndukwe Anyauri, says the projects are part of gains and achievements of the change agenda under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari and the commitment commitment of the administration to ensure accessible healthcare and qualitative education for people in the region.
It is the desire of the government that the gesture to improve the quality of life of the people is reciprocated by your support, as this government is poised to do more for the people.
Expected to address inequalities in the Niger Delta region. In Uyo, Evelyn Badu Epo, NTA News.
Going by the submission of the new Council of the Surveyors Council of Nigeria, Nigeria will soon develop a high-quality geospatial data. The new council was inaugurated by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola. Abdullahi Muhammad is on standby with that report.
This is not the popular long work in the book, Long Walk to Freedom, but a work to deliver presidential mandate. With a wave, the Minister of Works and Housing began the process of inaugurating a new council, which is expected to pilot the affairs of the Surveyors Council of Nigeria for the next 3 years.
Your tenure takes effect from the 28th day of March this year.
The presidential approval of the new council waits back and a watchword from the minister, a call to service.
This is the importance of your appointment in determining those who will play in the field of developing and harvesting geospatial data that will determine what life will be like tomorrow.
And upstanding, the council received the call with the president of the council putting forward some of his plans.
We will look at the whole gamut of being able to say that somebody is a surveyor and see whether there are areas where we need to add, subtract. And you must agree with me that every day technology is moving at a pace that if you don't take time, you'll be left far behind.
The council is no doubt a marriage of diverse people of intelligence and experience in the field of surveying. What remains to be seen is the impact on the profession. In Abuja, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
And reports just reaching us say motorists plying the Kaduna-Zaria highway are battling serious gridlock along Rigachukum, few kilometers away from Kaduna metropolis owing to construction work along the corridor. Standing by live is Suleiman Rigachukum to tell us, or rather to give us an update of the situation. Suleiman, if you can hear me, what is the situation like as we speak?
Well, actually, since early morning of today, the situation along Kaduna-Zaria highway, which is the business linking the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country, has been very hectic for motorists and commuters. In fact, the two lanes have been choked up by haulage vehicles and also private vehicles and commercial buses also. This is due to the construction work of the Kaduna-Abuja highway that has reached this particular axis. So the portion now has been diverted, and because of impatience by especially drivers of the haulage vehicle, the other lane that is supposed to have carried people coming from the northern motorists coming from the northern part to the southern part is also been congested by especially drivers of the haulage vehicle. So actually what is on ground now is a manifestation of one, impatience, and also the inability by the traffic regulatory agencies to also control the traffic from the start. And actually, this road has been having issues, especially the bridge behind me. This bridge has been breaking, and the Federal Road Maintenance Agency has always been there to repair it. But the only alternative routes that will ameliorate this challenge as this work continues is for the state government and probably the federal government to now join hands and create an additional alternative route through the Eastern Bypass Road and also through the Western Bypass Road, through the airport road, so that haulage vehicles, most especially the articulated vehicles, can follow through and allow the smaller buses and also the private vehicles to fly the road. Otherwise, this congestion will continue unabated.
Well, Suleiman, I'm just wondering why today? Could you attribute this influx to maybe the upcoming holiday, or I don't know?
Well, actually, we can attribute it to the incoming holiday, the Easter, the Good Friday and Easter Monday that is coming up. And also, even without holiday, this road is the busiest. It's the only road linking the north to the south. It's so strategic, very, very strategic. And you can also remember when last year, when this bridge got problem, it was also like this. People had to spend very long hours, very, very long to be able to reach their homes. Some even reach 2 o'clock in the night, and some even sleep on the road. So Kaduna needs alternative routes, actually, apart from this Kaduna Zaria road to make the traffic flow without any problem like the one we are encountering now.
Okay, in the short term, while we await an alternative route, what would you say would be the solution in the short term?
Well, in the short term, like I said earlier, is for the ongoing Eastern Bypass Road, since it has gone far, federal roads as well, but that will be through the airport road, a diversion from Regachung axis to the west. So that's the only alternative. Aside that, there is no any alternative. As this ongoing Kaduna Abuja road project reach this particular axis of Kaduna Zaria Highway.
Okay.
Definitely it's going to continue to be hectic and very problematic for commuters and also the motorists.
Okay, we hope it actually gets better from tomorrow. Thank you so much, my colleague Abdullah Suleiman Rigatikum there on telephone from Kaduna.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari is deeply saddened to learn of the death of 29 persons in a tragic boat mishap in Shagari River at Gidang Magaji in a statement by his senior special assistant media and publicity, Garba Shehu, the president extends heartfelt condolences to the families who lost loved ones in the devastating incident and directs the Nigerian Inland Waterways Authority to increase ongoing efforts to ensure the safety of riverine travels in the country. He also commiserated with the government and people of Sokoto State and prays for the repose of the souls of the departed. And that's nationwide today. We thank you for watching, but do remember, you can always partner with us here at the NTA as we battle rape and rapists. Thanks for watching. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama.